On this episode of Outside of the Box, Christine has gathered a roundtable of NHRL finalists to discuss their season and talk about a preview of finals.
I am hopeful for Caldera to make it pretty far in this event. People are going to have to go through me. They're going to have to earn it.
If I put my robot down and it works properly, I got a shot against anyone. Mako's never been knocked out at NHRL, so here's your chances. Come get me.
I wouldn't mind having a match against John. I'm ready.
I think that'll cause a cage breach.
You're gonna have to get in line, Corey.
I'm ready to fight Mr. Jamison Go. I have fought him in the 3-pounders. We are 1-1-ish. I'll fight you in the 30s.
Hey,
I give that to you. That last fight was pretty close. So
that was fun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Outside of the Box. And as this is, I'd call it an annual tradition, but technically this is the second year that I've done it. But I think it just needs to be a tradition at this point, is my finals preview. So as I did last year, I have a bunch of people that have qualified for finals, and we're going to chat about it. And I'm extremely excited to do so. So everybody, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to go ahead and kick it off. Essentially, we're going to have everybody kind of talk about your season, talk about your robots. Obviously, if you have multiple that you've qualified, we want to make sure that we talk about that as well. So I'm going to go ahead, and just because I think he may be the only person that was on this last year. So I'm going to put Corey on the spot and talk about Catalyst and Synthesis 30.
Actually, Brandon was on this last year as well,
yes,
too.
Yes. I'm corrected. Okay, but I'm still putting
Corey's
you on the
cooler,
spot,
so it's fine.
So I qualified Catalyst in January. He beat me, but it's okay. I might see him this year at finals again, or not again. Up until recently, I actually kind of forgot about the robot. Like, I fought it in January and I put it aside because in the beginning of the year, they were only qualifying top 2. And then they were going to have a wild card where basically if you had a high win-loss ratio, then you had a chance of getting in. So the robot kind of sat on the shelf. A couple events later, they brought it back to top 4, so the robot did qualify. But even then, after, I wanted to focus on getting my 30-pounder in. So Catalyst is unchanged per se, but at the same time, when you see it at finals, you may not recognize it. It's still a 2-wheel drive Big Vert, but I have a couple tricks up my sleeve. The robot that I've been incrementally iterating on is Synthesis 30. Every event, it gets a little better, and then it gets a little worse. Going into finals, so basically I'm taking what I know works between the drive, the weapon, and a couple little tricks up my sleeve as well for that robot. But I'm hoping it will have its most reliable event. And I'm eyeballing you, JMO, because I got you round 1 with the 30. That's pretty much it. That's all I got right now.
well, we're guessing anyways. To be determined.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, definitely, Corey, you are known for making scary robots, and I'm sure that they will be frightening at this finals, as they always are. So since you mentioned Brandon, and Brandon was on this last year, then Brandon's getting thrown in the spot now. So go ahead, Brandon. Let's hear about it.
Sure. So, obviously, my name is Brandon Young, and I have Vorion and Phenomenon qualify for the 30s this year. The big thing about them is they're clones, and I've basically trying to figure out which one has the better weapon system, pros and cons for each one of them. In general, the robots were pretty good this year. Phenomenon won June, and Vorion lost to Emulsifier, as seen behind me. And I think about that every day. And I think the goal and intention is preferably to have good rematches coming into finals. Obviously, I'd like to win, but at the same time, there are multiple robots who I fought over the years where the goal is to have a good configuration or at least a good reliability where if I fight them again, there's an improvement. I think the worst thing I would fear going into finals is probably facing a robot that I thought, okay, I have a plan for you, and then either the plan is undone by something else that I figured I could have covered beforehand, like I don't know, Mrs. Screw didn't Loctite it, classics. And hopefully, as they fight, simply put, the robots do what they're supposed to do. I think if the robots do what they're supposed to do, they're going to be fine. Whether the other machine is just better or whether I can outdrive them, that'll be the story. But as soon as I can get that kind of satisfaction out of the machines, I'll be happy with it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean that 30-pound division is going to be super competitive as always. So I'm really excited for it. I am going to send it over to let's say Peter. Peter, you have a couple of robots. Let's kind of hear what you have going on.
Yeah, so like has been a tradition at recent NHRL events, I decided to try and drive a lot of robots because it costs a lot to get to Norwalk. So if I fly or if I drive a bunch of robots, it's less cost per flight or per fight. So I went to January Norwalk with a couple of different robots. My girlfriend at the time had a robot named Knuckle Sandwich. That was just a finger tech beater bar, but I made the weapon really, really heavy. And she ended up going undefeated at that Norwalk and then forfeiting out to my other entry, Repeater, which ended up going all the way to the finals. And Repeater is a robot that's a true multi-bot, two robots that are identical that both have big, scary egg beaters. And it was built and driven with my friend Ryan from Dallas. Me and Brian have been fighting robots together for about 2 years now. And so it was fun to get a chance to play with him in the box every match. And so Repeater went pretty far. We took Repeater to another event and we had changed a lot. We decided to try and run it at an event to see if we could break those changes and figure out what worked and what didn't. And we found out that all our weapons had bad heat treat and were the wrong materials. And so those weapons shattered in the round of 32. And so we've gotten better weapons that are the correct specs this time. So hopefully we won't go out like that. Going back to a different one of the Norwalks that I went to, I don't remember any, I think it's September. I came with Knuckle Sandwich and I was going to the event to practice with Repeater, and I was like, I don't have a beetle that I like right now, so hey Des, can I bring your robot? And she was like, yeah, sure, I don't care, just drive it, it'll be fun. And so I brought a redesigned Knuckle Sandwich that used a brand new hardened steel beater, and I ended up going all the way to winning a dumpster with that, and that was very unexpected. I got very lucky. I won a fight by 1 point, a fight by 2 points, and a fight by 3 points in the judges. So I was struggling the whole event because it was the first time I was driving the robot and it probably wasn't fully fleshed out. So we've gone and fixed a couple of problems that showed up and we'll have a couple more tweaks for finals. But since then, we went up to an Oklahoma event and swept the whole thing between Des and I driving. So Knuckle Sandwich should be pretty fun. It's actually we were also affected by bad heat treat on those bars, but the geometry was thick enough to I kind of shrug it off. But Dima actually cracked one of the bars in the fight with Turbo Fiend. So I finished that fight with the weapon still spinning, but it has a pretty big crack out of it. It's a split entirely on the tooth side. And then I'm going to be driving a mini bot for my friend Lars's robot Impact. Which is just a massive 4-wheel drive beater bar that is really scary. So that should be a lot of fun. And then I'm also mini botting for my friend John and his massive beater bar Warhard. And so that'll also be really fun just to kind of help those guys out and see how it goes. Both of them have really scary robots, and I hope that we don't have to fight each other in the bracket because I don't think I would win.
Yeah, fair enough. And coincidentally, Knuckle Sandwich is the only robot that any of you have that I've actually fought against, and I was not surprised that it went all the way. Yeah, you've definitely got a good one there. Now, I'm gonna go with the natural segue and go over to Myles because you also qualified in January. So go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so my bot is I run part of the multi-bot Scurry Fest. Scurry Fest, me and Robert run. We went to January NHRL and ended up qualifying Scurry Fest at that event. We did unexpectedly well, kind of insane. Didn't expect it to go how it did. That event was great. That event was fun. There, the way the event went, like little issues popped up here and there, but due to the multi-bot, honestly kind of like silliness of like the way the rules went out, we really did get an edge in some events. But oh yeah, so, Scurry Fest, sorry. Scurry Fest, it's not a true 50-50 multi-bot. It's a 3-pound shuffling undercutter and a 2-pound control bot. My part is Scurry. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to, Scurry Fest hasn't been able to compete up at Norwalk since January, but there are aspects of Scurry in both Cold Snap and Komodo, and I've been able to run those outside of Norwalk this year and been able to learn a little bit more on those designs to be able to implement those into Scurry. So it's not going to look very different, but I'm hoping the little incremental changes could really help it come December.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure it can be difficult to have to wait so long and not really get to run it. But I mean, obviously, like it did very well, and I'm sure that it'll do good things at finals. I am going to go to Glenn. So Glenn, you have had some very successful events with your robots, and I'd love to hear kind of about how the year's gone and how you're feeling about finals.
The year overall went very well. Well, I didn't get it near as many tournaments as I would have liked to with Caldera. I'll say Caldera 3 and Caldera 12 to keep them straight here. I got lucky and got the judge's decision at the RIT event in what was it? March, and so got qualified in with Caldera on that one. I am hopeful for Caldera to make it pretty far in this event, and I think people are gonna have to go through me to get they're gonna have to earn it. I did some testing over the year, with slowing down the weapon speed, trying to get more bite in that. Didn't find that it was working, but now I've got bigger batteries in it. I'm upping the speed back up. So hopefully it's going to be hitting. And Magma's coming out of retirements, and there's so many daggone mini bots out there. So I gotta have that little bot to go take care of the other one, so we can actually have a true fight with the 3 5-pounders. Caldera 12 has been a fun bot this year. If I didn't get stuck in the sidewalls so many times, that wood in those cages is a death knell for Caldera 12. And JMO proved with Psycho that Caldera 12 had a glass jaw. He came in and hit me one hit, bent the weapon, sniped, cut the belt right in half. Hopefully I got a new weapon blade, new materials. I think that problem might be resolved. And don't be surprised to see Caldera 3 and with Caldera 12, at least a copy of it.
Yeah, good stuff. Excited to see how they both do. I am going to, well, since you called him out, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to JMO, who, you know, has multiple robots. Just, you know, it's a normal thing. But yeah, let's hear kind of about your season, JMO, and what you've got cooking for finals.
I mean, it was almost not. I mean, that's I mean, I guess we'll get down to it, but this has been an interesting year for me, and kind of just reading. I like to, you know, kind of get the vibes on the NHRL Discord. I think this is kind of the year where I feel like I'm going a little bit under the radar, and it may be because we have a lot of rising stars. Maybe it's because none of my robots actually won a proper tournament this year. But I'm kind of enjoying going under the radar because no one suspects the changes that are going on. They look at tournament performance and they use that as the metric of which they judge. And that's fine by me because I always love to surprise people with new stuff. So we'll start with the 3 Silent Spring, the classic, coming up on 10 years of Silent Spring. It's a long time, and this is hopefully the last one I'll ever have to build. It didn't do super well. Okay, it qualified in September, but I wouldn't call it a Silent Spring performance worthy. Luckily, Boxelmania, Glenn was able to hold an event at which I was able to bring Silent Spring and kind of prove out a few of the changes, which made it look a little bit more to its normal self. So I'm looking forward to that, plus additional upgrades. It's going to be hitting just as hard, and it's going to be mobile, and I'm hoping it just puts on a good show. That's Silent Spring, just, you know, swing a big hook, and usually we'll just outlast them. Now for the other bots. The other bots, you know, I've been trying new stuff. A Psycho had a new frame, and I had a new power system. And those things it took some time to kind of get into the groove of things. April started off really rocky for me with a first round Insta Flame, and if anybody remembers that. And then it's been continuous changes basically between every single fight, including teams, to get it somehow to the very end. So there's just been a lot of experimentation, a lot of this and that, a lot of why isn't this doing what I think it's going to do? Why does this work better? How do I make it do the thing? Even grabbing the exact same electronics, putting it back into the machine has yielded different performance. But I think I've got it this time. So looking for a much more dialed in 12-pound robot, and it's going to need to work well. This field is pretty crazy. And finally, Megatron, first year that I tried the treads out, loving the treads, and that demonstrated really well in the last event that it was at. What event was that actually? Probably September. September, yeah, it was September. Unveiled the brand new Megatron, new from the bottom up, making the treads a staple part of it, as well as the hub motor, attempting the flywheel, and my goodness, that was the best robot I've ever driven, and I'm very excited for it. I'm excited to have all systems working for December, and I think that it hasn't shown off quite all it can do. It's got, I demonstrate a lot of drive, and now I need to bring the weapon into play. And oh man, I'm just so excited. That's all I'm gonna say.
I think all of us are, unless some of the people on here who might have to face you might not be as excited.
I don't want to oversell. You know, I got to get everything together, but on paper, it's gonna be a menace. I think it's gonna hit the hardest it's ever hit. It's gonna slice better. You know, we say hammer saw, and I'm meaning that saw part is gonna do. We're gonna capitalize that.
Great. I'm seeing some looks on some faces. Well, again, I like these segues. Everybody's setting things up for me so well. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to Julian. Speaking of saws, so let's talk about Mako.
Yeah. Hi guys. Yeah, Mako is my 3-pound saw robot. It's not a hammer saw. It's just a normal saw. And yeah, kind of had a crazy run this year. I just started competing a year ago, and I was like, I want to qualify next year. I want to qualify next year, and made it to the top 4 twice, which kind of unreal. Had just a lot of good matches, 1 or 2 lucky wins. I know JMO knows what I'm talking about there. But yeah, I think like what Brandon said, if I put my robot down and it works properly, I got a shot against anyone. Not a big shot, but everyone's got a place where I might be able to hit them. And Mako's never been knocked out at NHRL, so here's your chances. Come get me.
Those are some fighting words there.
That's right. Well, Dima's going to be hiding, like I'm going to be hiding behind Dima with the mini bot anyway, so you got to get over her first.
Yeah, I might as well. Dima, you know, how are you feeling about Turbo Fiend in that exciting qualification in the last event? Let's talk about that.
I feel great. I dodged qualifying 2 tournaments in a row in top 8, and then was able to qualify for the same tournament that I got the golden dumpster. If not for the fact that I had won literally first that tournament, I would be a lot less confident. It felt like in the tournaments where I got top 8, I also got a little lucky. I was scraping by a little bit, but I was getting roadblocked by extremely strong bots. Greatest Challenge and then Knuckle Sandwich, who won the golden dumpster. And getting gate kept, so to speak, by those robots made me a little fearful of other top contenders that I hadn't faced with Turbo Fiend, like Caldera and Monkfish. But my last showing in the cage and the Fiend's last showing in the cage made me a lot more confident in the weapon, the design, the driving, everything. So it's not the same as Mako, where it's like all I need to do is find one really good hit, but it does still feel like I have a shot against anybody. So I am just a normal level of confidence. I'm not overconfident. I don't feel shy either in my performance. I'm ready to drive my heart out.
Yeah, and I have no doubt that you will. I will go next to a newcomer to Outside of the Box, Aidan. Let's go ahead and chat about your bot.
Yes, thank you. So I qualified in June with Radix. I actually have the new frame right here. It's still in pieces though. But to talk about that, I want to rewind first to April, where I competed with the college team from UD, and Matt took me out with Half-Life in the round of 32. But that was my first tournament appearance where I felt like Radix was good. I wasn't having the weapon go down immediately. I was getting close matches against top tier bots. So going into June, I had some more confidence. I just wanted to see how far I could go, give it one more shot for the year. And I was unfortunately eliminated in the round of 8, but I had the highest seed. And there was a crazy qualification chain at that tournament where Jelly Baby beating me qualified Chubby Unicorn, and then Chubby Unicorn beating Loopy qualified Warhard, and then Warhard beating Comet qualified me. So that was an emotional roller coaster. And the most ironic part, I had stopped watching the stream. I was like trying to figure out what went wrong with my bot. It was Matt, the guy who knocked me out at the last time I was at Norwalk, who told me that I qualified. I was not aware of it before then. So it was just a crazy roller coaster of emotions. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident. I am ranked the second lowest seed going into this tournament. Corey unfortunately stole the honor of having the lowest seed, but I'm the seed doesn't mean anything. I mean, once I'm there, I'm feeling good about the robot. I'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, and that's why really in these tournaments, because of the seeding situation, you never know. Go as far as you can because you never know how it's going to shake out. So that's a really exciting thing to have happened.
Yeah, Matt tapped me on the shoulder. He was like, "I'll see you in December." I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean?" I was like, "Didn't you see the fight? I was knocked out." He's like, "I'll see you in December." So then I like did all the math. It took me like the qualification chain was so long. It took me 10 minutes to figure out how on earth I was in, but it worked out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And again, since you mentioned Matt, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to toss it over to Matt. So please talk about Half-Life.
Oh, I was going to talk about Half-Life. I was going to talk Radix first. Genuinely, dude, you earned your salt to get there. I was sitting in the stands, watching your fight because I'm like, he's got a good shot, and I genuinely thought you could have won that Jelly Baby fight if your weapon hadn't died. And I think JMO was sitting behind me, and he was pretty excited to see it. He said, "Oh man, I'm getting some old Silent Spring vibes from this robot." So
Yeah. If you watch the recap video, you can actually see my weapon motor died like as the lights hit red. So it looked for a spectator, it probably looked like my weapon was working the whole fight. From the judge's point of view, it wasn't, which made it so close.
unlucky. Well, I don't know how people handle multiple robots, but I unfortunately have the glory of being 1/4 of a 12 and have a 3-pounder, and I'm ready to get my teeth kicked in genuinely by every competitor. And I'm fully expecting to go 0-4, but I'm gonna have a whole lot of fun getting there. Half-Life, I kind of want it to die finally so I can go on my shelf. So I'm calling out every 3-pounder. Please murder my robot. I would really appreciate it because it's kind of getting old and tiresome. I'm really kind of putting on its Sunday best, if you would, doing a lot of cosmetic stuff because I've never really cared about the cosmetics of that robot, but I really want to make it a trophy piece for my shelf and have it go out in a blaze of glory, if you will. I really hope it doesn't actually go in a blaze of glory because I don't want to get burned by Clyde or Supreme Ruler. I really don't. There's a lot of TPU, and I don't like the sand bucket. But genuinely, there's some little improvements I'm doing on the inside, and I'm really just looking forward to having a fun time. I'm gonna have Robert Sarakin and Ariel there to support me driving minis if needed and helping me out. Um, and I'm really excited to fight my 3 to the death. But the other entry that I'm a part of is the Mighty Battle Tots, and we're really looking forward to having a fun time, all 4 of us. Definitely every robot has had its teething pains each event, and I'm happy that Alex Pick was able to get Dot Sport through the last event, and it performed better than we thought it was going to, given that it was in pieces Friday night. So there's a lot of improvements he's making, and all the bots have kind of started to hit the point where they're dialed in. And I think Dot Sport will perform because every Battle Tot, the first time it's debuted, has been a turd. And I really, really hope they put on a good show at least. But I expect to see the ceiling a lot. And they survive a little bit more every time, so at least maybe the ceiling will be a little less painful this time.
Half-Life deserves a Viking funeral. So
I really, really don't want to be on fire. Like, give me Mako, cut my battery. But if I gotta go hurt Caboose in a sand bucket, I'm gonna cry.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, last but certainly not least, I will go ahead and turn it over to Jaaron.
Well, unlike you, Matt, I kind of want Red Panda to go out in a Viking funeral because it will force me to finally make a new version of it. If anybody's seen my robot, if you've ever seen the picture of "We're so over, we're so back," that's kind of been the ride Red Panda has had over the past 2 years. It's been a mix of good placements, really bad placements. But this year I finally got to stretch its legs. 2 second places, back to back, quote unquote, if you ignore RIT, where it went 1 and 2. So it's been quite an up and down. I'm excited to finally go to a finals event. And finally, I'm going to be changing a little part of it. I'm gonna bring a few little changes to just hopefully strengthen up the weapon, some small experimental things, but just kind of trying to limp it through the finals until I can get a new version. Yeah, I'm just expecting maybe a 1 and 2. If we're gonna have fun. I'm kind of hoping I get absolutely eviscerated by Clyde. It will be fun. It will be a spectacle. And I can give them the chassis, and then it's not my problem anymore. So perfect. And then additionally, I am, I guess, a fifth of the 30-pounder Waddles. Waddles has been in the WPI club for 2-3-ish years now. Modular bot. And so we've been running the modular version of the robot for a little bit. At the most recent event that it qualified at April, I believe, we absolutely obliterated both modules. The beater bar turned into shrapnel, and the undercutter turned into a wet noodle. So for finals, we are going to be bringing semi brand new modules, and that's going to be really exciting because we have been wanting to make changes to them for a while. But we haven't really been able to because we've had all these expensive parts that we've been using for a while. And so finally being forced to revision and bring these high-powered, high-strength modules back is going to be really exciting. And unfortunately, for those of you actually watching, we're bringing this thing with us, who is spec'd for certain opponents, the cam lifter. Thank you, NHRL, for making them illegal next year as primary robots. JMO, unfortunately, you're one of the ones on that list. As much as I love you, an insane world makes a sane man crazy.
Don't worry, I'll make you regret bringing it.
Please do. I want to throw it in the trash. Please send all of my robots to a Viking funeral, except for Waddles. Waddles should live, but all my other robots, just burn them.
I don't have that capability, but I'm sure someone else will try.
It's got 2 batteries in it. You can hit one of them.
Let's go, Corey. It's your time to shine, baby.
Yeah, I mean that's a take, is burn my robot. That's, well, we have finished the organized portion of the show, and we're going to delve into the back half here, which is the chaos portion, and we are going to go weight class by weight class, and just whoever kind of wants to jump in and either give your thoughts on some robots that we haven't talked about that aren't represented by anyone that is here, and just generally predictions on what you think may happen. So first, I'm going to talk about the 30-pound weight class. And just going to throw it out there to start off the conversation. Both Ares and Warheart XXL looked very scary in the last event. So I just want to kind of start it off, and whoever wants to jump in and give their thoughts or predictions on the 30 pounds, please go ahead.
All I'm going to say is you had Ares and Warhard fight each other, and Ares broke John's toy. And every time John goes to one of these tournaments and someone breaks his toys, he finds a way for it to never happen again, and they come back scarier and scarier. So I would be very scared of Warheart XXL if you have to face them at this tournament. Someone's going to probably take them out, but they're not going to look good after doing it.
Warheart XXL is absolutely terrifying. I mean, just when you think of like big beater robot, that's like the thing you think of. And I don't, as far as I can tell, Warheart XXL isn't just like scaled up to 30s. It's like scaled up to 30s and then plus like 15%. It's massive.
Yeah, it's not that bad. I'll fight him. I've known John for a couple years now, and him and we joke, and I say, John, when are we gonna get our match? I wouldn't mind having a match against John. I'm ready.
I think that'll cause a cage breach.
You're gonna have to get in line, Corey.
I'm ready to fight Mr. Jamison Go. I have fought him in the 3-pounders. We are 1-1-ish. I don't know, but I'll fight you in the 30s.
Hey,
I
I
give
go to the
that to
very
you.
back
That
of
that
the.
last fight was pretty close.
That
So
was fun.
yeah, maybe we get to do it again. Every time I get to fight Silent Spring and Synthesis, undercutters and then the big vert, it's always an explosion. I always enjoy our fights.
Absolutely. Now, I wouldn't mind fighting a hammer saw. Only I'm going to give you this, JMO. I'm not putting special top armor on. I'm going as is.
Ooh, nice. I thought you were gonna give me like I'm gonna put special bottom armor on.
Nope. Any robot I fight isn't getting anything special.
Oh, thank you.
Now, I
But
think
Brandon, I want Brandon. I really
I
want
don't.
Brandon.
I don't want any of you personally. Respectfully, all of you can go away. I now that's just people who are here though. To be fair, there is still the black hole at the center of the utopia that I think every other 30-pounder I've ever talked to has been thinking of ways and plotting of ways to fight. But to be fair, even with that one, I kind of already had my idea sort of stoked out for that. And even then, it's kind of the same plan because I didn't really get a chance to implement that plan very well at teams or the fights beyond. So even with that one, it's not as worrying about. What I am more curious about, and I think the one I've enjoyed seeing progressing the most during NHRL events outside of it is definitely Georgia Tech Crew, because I personally love to see Chonky's evolution. Now they're in version 4 of it. Love it. I really, really love seeing the progression, not only with like the shells design, the shufflers design, but they've also been balancing the internals, like electronically speaking, and been doing that very, very well. Tsunami looks supremely clean. I remember even its last event, it only died by club cannibalism, which I think is like a testament to how well it's doing by as a whole. And then even with the anxiety, I got lucky with it in June with Phenomenon, because I think that like I wasn't fully expecting that fight to be a slugfest between those two machines. And even though I know that they had the difficulties, I kind of understand what the limitations are with it as it is. They also have all the ability to fix that. And then when you have a horizontal undercutter that has the maneuverability of anxiety, and then you have so many machines who are quite frankly in a vertically heavy field. Like I think it's Waddles, if half of Waddles, anxiety, Chonky. That's two out of at least 3 horizontals that come to mind are just Georgia Tech. So if you want to go like off meta opportunity there, that's one of them. And then I think the vast majority of robots in 30s are like avert of some sort. So even with avert of some sort, as you're going to fight it, you kind of have an idea. But with the horizontal, there is a strategy you have against it. But at the same time, that also does require a bit more careful play because energy stored in it's also going to be enormous. I think everyone's pretty aware of what a really good horizontal can do against a really good vertical. If anything, Chonky's like angled sides against the beater could be useful against it, just saying. So there's still plenty of other robots besides even just the winners that I am terrified of personally. But at the same time, I'm also very keen to get rematches with robots that I've lost to before, mainly because I want to see the innovation of thought. I want to see how the robots have progressed in it. Because I think that if I can see that growth happening, if by some miracle I rematch the robots I've fought probably too many times, hey Jamison,
No,
then I
yeah,
can
don't say it too
probably
many
see some
times.
improvement there. Huh?
Don't say it too many times, otherwise Phenomenon is gonna get matched up somehow.
Is
Oh,
Emulsifier
but it's
coming
already.
back?
You see, I know it's inevitable. The script demands that I get set on fire this year, and there's only a handful of robots that can do so. So the
Is
invitation's always
Emulsifier
there.
fighting in the 30s?
Oh yeah.
Okay, what are you guys gonna do with him? Who's gonna handle him?
This
We're
thing.
getting
Whoa,
Care
whoa,
of him.
whoa, whoa,
We're
whoa,
getting to that.
Come on.
whoa, whoa,
We
whoa.
got.
There's a story to write. Come on.
I want to
Listen.
see somebody brag they could take him.
I
I
mean,
think
Brandon.
the
Listen.
Brandon
I think the
brings up a
redemption
good point. I mean, Chonky, there's, I'm looking at the biggest of the big boys right here. So I'm looking at the names that are qualified. There are 2 non-traditional locomotion robots, Chonky and Mirage. And it makes me kind of wonder, are those some of the bots that you got to watch, because they're going to hit the hardest. They're hard to move for sure, and are any of them those two or the other ones? Who's going to beat Emulsifier? Is that possible?
He could beat himself. That'd be kind of funny though. A little sad, but kind of funny.
I feel like this is the Emulsifier support group because we've all fought him, and
Well, that's what he does. He's the black hole at the center of the utopia. Every
He
time
takes your
we go to
robot
events.
and he just splits it apart like it's an earthquake fault line.
And that's Pepe. I survived Emulsifier being split though. But Pepe, ooh. If Pepe qualified, ooh. Ooh, now that would be a day.
There's no Pepe.
There's no Pepe.
There is no Pepe in Bossing Say. Don't worry about it.
I'm excited to see B-Force. B-Force is awesome.
B-Force.
B-Force pulling Ares at the last event for the final fight, rough. But B-Force is just such a fun and cool looking robot. I love looking at the tracked robots that Zoe keeps making and seeing them come in, kind of bounce around the arena, win a fight, and then just kind of exit is awesome. The hub motors are super cool. She's been doing a lot of work on them, so it's really exciting to see them keep coming back.
Now 2 Emulsifiers against 1 Emulsifier. That's how you do it. Easy. The
The
math
weight
works
bonuses
out. I'm
are
sorry.
really getting out of
Simple as
hands.
that. Simple as that. Didn't want to spoil the script there, but it is my solution.
I mean, I think that's plausible, that could work. So yeah, there's a lot of scariness in the 30s for sure. I honestly, I couldn't predict it at all. There's so many ways that could go. So we will see. But I would love to see someone take down Emulsifier. Love Matt, great guy, but I would love to see someone take down Emulsifier. So
I think all the 30s builders would love to see that, because that means they won't have to fight in later on.
That is true. Very
but
true.
Who's the lamb to the slaughter is always the question. Who has to do it first?
We shall see. We shall definitely see. We will go ahead and move on to thoughts on the 12s. And again, I'm just going to start off the conversation with a thought that I'm pretty sure that Jake Hoffman is on a mission as always. So let's go off of that.
I feel like the 12s are probably one of the most competitive. I feel like almost any 12 that's currently competing at finals, you could literally substitute their name in and it wouldn't be a surprise to anyone. It's very, very competitive, I would say. Not that the 30s aren't competitive.
The 12s, I think, are kind of come down to some on who matches with who, because everybody's got a strength and weakness against another bot. And, depending on the matchups, it could throw monkey wrench in some people's plans.
Yeah, the 12 pounders seem like a huge game of just rock, paper, scissors. It comes down to the luck of the bracket and, what you've planned for.
To mention a bot that beat Jake, Amphisbana is looking pretty strong. One of the UD bots had to fight them. Unfortunately, had to forfeit. But those dual egg beaters are crazy and they sound beautiful.
How many bots did Honey Crack get in there? 3, 4, 3? They got some good bots in there fighting.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the mighty Buzzkill and oh man, I'm forgetting this. Bumble Blitz.
I
really don't have top armor, and I really would not want to get slammed by the hammer saw in a fight.
Oh no.
The Loimening.
The Loimening is inevitable.
Yeah.
But we're forgetting about one of the biggest boys on the block right now. Quite literally, how we think full court's gonna do this year.
depending on what he does, it throws out, what kind of configuration he throws out against me, I think I can take him again.
Thank you,
I think
Glenn.
a
I
lot of
appreciate that.
people, I think a lot of people at this point have been plotting around him for basically the full year at this point. I mean, considering it's been a year since last time. So I know that a lot of the 12 builders I've been talking to have been theorizing on how to beat the TPU forks, how to get around him, how to really upset his stance and make him make mistakes.
Yeah, if you he doesn't have a weapon that you got to worry about damage. You don't have to worry about damage from him at all. Just go around, and then if he goes with the mini bot, just go after the mini bot. Put all the damage on the mini bot and make him lose by that. You're aggressive on the mini, chasing that around. And if I have to fight him, Cal 3 will be in the ring.
Nah, Glenn, it causes emotional damage, all right. You're gonna die of embarrassment. Is what's gonna happen. I'm actually not looking at full court at all.
No,
not at all. I see it as a correction to Jaaron, actually. It's rock, paper, scissors, huge is how I look at the 12-pound class right now. Slam plan.
Yeah.
The business cat, all these robots, they sit on the ground, and I think that there is a way to play the game, and how you drive or how you armor. And Slam Plan rises above all of them.
He does.
And there's only a handful of robots that can really fight back. Otherwise, it's just this kind of waiting game fighting thing. I fought huge too many times, and I don't like playing that game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would get as lucky fighting Slam Plan. It seems really strong.
Yeah, he already handed me my lunch.
Yeah, it's gonna be those matchups, man.
Slam Plan is the gun brought to the knife fight.
Yeah.
But that top armor or lack thereof, you never know what can happen. I mean, at Motorama, Bumble Blitz got in there and just kind of gave him a little scoop and killed the electronics through the lack of top plate. So
yeah,
someone might just happen to bounce on top of him and kill it.
Oh.
So with treads.
Climb right up there and over him.
Or if you have someone like full court have to fight him, the entire full court is basically a cow catcher. That would be really interesting.
I'm waiting for someone to bring the cow catcher, and that way we can reignite the discussion. Really bring it back from the dead.
Well, people have tried, but it's never worked as well as the original one.
Oh, man, where's Zach? Where's Zach? He's not in here to talk about his bot. He's got a pretty tough one in Primita. That one's going to be a tough bot.
I'm more scared of Void. That thing is a brick.
I was about to mention
I
Void.
don't want to get roofed again by Void. I don't want to go into the Void.
And Void's got that hub motor that can't be hit by Slam Plan to take out the weapon immediately, so he might actually stand a pretty decent chance.
Somebody go take out Slam Plan, get him out of my path. Then somebody go take out Psycho, get him out of my path. Somebody take out Battle Tots. You guys go do all the work, and I'll sit back and take it in the end.
Look, Glenn. We know you're scared of the roof. We know. Kevin knows you're scared. We're gonna go easy on you because we're worried that we'll cause you to have a heart attack and pass out. We'll do our best to not send you to the ceiling again.
Glenn, you're the horizontal. You're supposed to take out Slam Plan.
I made a mistake in the fight against him. I thought I'd put it in upside down and put the blade a little higher to catch his spokes. It totally messed up my driving. I couldn't drive for nothing in that fight. He got my lunch.
But where is the fish? We have to ask the question, where is the fish in this?
Is the fish going to take out the plan? Is that what you're telling me? Is the fish the plan?
If he's hungry
The
enough,
fish is
Bob,
hungry.
start with the fish.
The fish is always hungry, so I think this works.
I thought cats eat fish.
Oh,
that is true.
Do you think this is redemption for what Huge did to the fish. So maybe the fish has a plan for a huge style robot.
Well, as long as it doesn't paint the robot red, you should be fine. That's always the secret.
We all know red is the worst color to make your robot.
It is. I have a robot that hasn't won a single fight that can say that is true.
it makes your insurance go way up.
Bad for cars, bad for robots. It's just there's
Jake?
issues there.
Is this bad for Jake? Nobody's mentioning him. We're leaving him totally out of the conversation.
Well, he wrote the script, so
yeah. Even though he's gone into his so-called crash out mode, he's we all know how he's written the script already.
What's it called? Running into Jake in a random Discord. He's just in his own world, streaming to himself, watching his gameplay. He's what we would call locked in, if I think that's what the kids call it now.
Mm-hmm.
Jake's on ESPN right now. He's probably just like giving all the predictions, all the analysis.
So what I've heard so far is somebody needs to take out Emulsifier and somebody needs to take out Slam Plan. Is what I've heard. So I'm curious, who do we need to take out in the threes?
It's Eruption for me. I mean, I don't know how their record stacks up against all the other bots because I haven't looked into that, but the wins that Eruption has are just so dominant. It just scares me to watch that. Crazy.
The guy over there with the green saw.
I don't know about that. I'm really scared of Warhard and Impact. I got a skin of my teeth win against Impact, and that is a scary robot for Mako to face. And JMO with Silent Spring or Silent X, one of them is going to come try to get revenge and kill me, especially when I just made that mistake. And I don't want Clyde to set me on fire and melt me to death. That's a nightmare. So I'm like Glenn was saying, I want Dima and JMO and Jaaron to go take everyone else out for me. Leave the easy bets.
Like a lot of this comes down to who's the brackets, who how it lines up. You can get your strength against somebody's weakness, and you can get through.
And even then, it's not like there's an easy robot.
There's not.
It's not like, oh boy, I get to face X. It's like, no, it's all a nightmare.
I mean, if Julian, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if we don't get new top armor for Turbo Fiend, Mako probably is my worst matchup.
Yeah, I haven't been working too hard on that.
You better get to work, Dima. Julian ain't handling it.
Yeah, that's on you.
I'll figure something out. I'll go to the scrapyard.
Julian's seen the desperation he's caused in people. I gave him a peek of what I was thinking about today, and people have called me crazy because that's just kind of what Mako does to you. But also Monkfish,
Yes.
really scary to see coming in. I mean, it's big robot, big undercutter, and just so smotheringly dominant. You're upside down in the corner and you're stuck there until Monkfish is done pinning you.
Yeah,
It
and
just
last
hits you
event,
everywhere.
I think Rachel was struggling with some weapon stuff that wasn't as consistent as it's been like forever. So I'm sure they're gonna figure that out and just be swinging full speed for 3 minutes. And it's just a matter of, can you survive for 3 minutes with the fish?
I don't know if there's many robots here that could. I don't know if there's really any. Monkfish hits harder than you could ever imagine.
I mean, there is one robot that has taken more hits than most. I think Jelly Baby is going to come in under the radar. That robot kind of just gets roofed repeatedly. And even if it dies, I know Paige is constantly iterating to try to make it not die as much as it did the previous time. So I'm sure she'll come out swinging. And if anyone, I'd put my money on that beating Monkfish, because I just don't know. It's such a wild card in my mind.
For most lifters, I would say, oh, well, Monkfish will smash them, but we've seen Jelly Baby win fights it's not supposed to. So, yeah, that would be very interesting.
Yeah. Jelly Baby's in my nightmares. I have a configuration just for them once I get there.
Emotional damage, yeah.
Yeah.
With how shallow Jelly Baby is, you could almost say just put a big wedge on it and Monkfish goes over like it's a big old ramp. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll fight Monkfish.
Of course.
Corey's hands are available for anyone.
I mean, Synthesis fought Monkfish at All Stars and it won. I mean, Catalyst is not Synthesis, however, it's still a big vertical spinner, and Catalyst's disc is meant to cut through TPU and not necessarily toss it in the air. So, I mean, I'm willing to see how far and how deep I can cut into a Monkfish.
Hey, Monkfish. Yep.
They have a titanium plate on the front now, though, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult.
They
I'll
had
just
that
remove
last
it.
year too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Chainsaw Kitty's pretty darn scary.
I fought
Yeah.
Monkfish last year in December, and I found out that the titanium plate was there because I removed it.
It's really
I
fun
hear
to
a
see.
volunteer to fight him first. Then that's what I'm
yeah.
hearing.
I'm kind of gunning for my own team. I've been pretty pretty dunked on by my own team within the past few events, so I'm looking for some redemption. I got my redemption against Ian with Fully Defined already, but I'm you know, I might catch his hands with Eruption and see what I can do. I've hopefully fixed my robot. I fixed the issue of my forks against Eruption. Last time he broke like $200 in parts. Both drive VSCs, a drive motor and a weapon motor. So my most expensive loss to date. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but I need some team on team violence.
Don't let Chainsaw Kitty fly under the radar here, folks.
I was just about to say, Kazai is not really being talked about right now, and Chainsaw has definitely earned a spot at finals.
For sure.
Yeah, didn't she?
yeah.
Isn't she running a redesigned Kitty this event? I remember her mentioning something like that she was doing a redesign. It seemed like she was going to be bringing it to finals. So I'm a little concerned what optimizations have been made to make it hit harder and faster.
I believe it's a Kitty with a new badass motor and some other changes that I do not know, but
A bigger motor.
Bigger motor.
I think it's a bigger
motor.
motor.
I think it's a
No,
smaller motor.
Smaller.
No.
Yeah.
think I remember that too.
But
You
only
lose a little
longer.
weight, I think, overall for next.
shaving down to
Yeah.
3 pounds for other events. But it's still, I think it's a little more powerful over motor, but a little bit smaller. Because switching from Cobra to badass, but
Just badass things.
yeah,
So-
just badass things.
So what you're telling me, Jaaron, is you can't hit her weapon motor this time because it's a little smaller?
No,
Because
I
I'm kind
can.
of banking on that.
I'm kind of banking on that too. I've been in a perpetual argument with Kazaya about making her out a weapon motor guard. So I need to be the reason that happens.
I mean, to be fair, you weren't the first. I'm pretty
No.
sure Mr. Johnny Bahama himself, Spartan, was one of the first to slam the weapon motor.
But I was
And-
definitely the least likely to.
But I feel like Johnny's kind of been forgotten back over in the Bahamas because it's been a little harder for him to come out to events. But I think Johnny is going to come in swinging because he always has some fun blades for people. And I'm sure he's had a lot of time to get ready, even though he's probably relaxing in the beach right now, staying warm.
I honestly think that Johnny's our solution to Clyde. I mean, the previous fight was such a deadly fight against Spartan, and the fight between Spartan and Clyde. I mean, big horizontal blade against a pretty airy TPU robot. One unlucky hit and that blade is going straight to the fuel tank or into the fan system or something like that. So it has to be a perfect game against Spartan.
I think
Where
if
you can find out how heat tapes stands up on my. I got one bot that's just totally taped up and everything ready for Supreme Ruler and Clyde there. Don't like that fire.
Supreme Ruler is another bot that we haven't talked much about. The fire is just scary. I was watching that stream with my friends. I was like, I don't want that one to qualify because I only have so much heat tape. And sure enough, they got in.
I'm just hoping Dima faces Supreme Ruler before Mako.
I'm kind of banking on the Dima rematch.
Those two want to face you.
But Dima, I can't help you put tape on your robot this time, unfortunately.
It's fine. I know the patterns that we have to cut in, like we're making snowflakes. I like the arts and crafts that we have to do with the tape this time. I perfectly know how to cover the uprights, which for whatever reason are shaped like a bird.
Bird rights.
Yeah.
You print one out and have it all taped up, ready to go?
There you go. Just wrap it up.
Could have an entire, depending on how the bracket looks, we could have an entire unibody ready to go with tape.
Yeah.
Prepped up.
That is true.
Okay.
Gotta prep for those fire bots.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I got one taped and prepped and ready to go.
That's what I was doing yesterday.
I am currently ripping my hair out trying to figure out an answer for Supreme Ruler and Clyde, and I think my answer is I'm just gonna send it.
Okay.
The most reasonable solution out of all of them, I think, at this point.
Yeah, because you never know. You never know what's going to happen. I think that's one of the exciting things about combat robotics. But yeah, I think that those are a lot of good thoughts. And
I want to call out one more.
Oh yeah,
One
go
more
ahead. Go ahead,
item
Glenn.
here. Demacarius Beckett spot. He's qualified and coming. He deserves a call out to be coming and doing so well with his driving.
For sure. Yeah.
I know Matt and his dad are out for blood because they put on an old top plate last event and had to forfeit their fight, so they didn't even lose. They couldn't get to their power switch because they just mixed up a panel. So I'm sure they're coming back a little hungrier with that like kind of silly mistake that I'm sure they would have went further last event.
Yeah, and that's a good call out. Beckett is one of the most like determined young people that I've ever spoken to in my life. And so I'm sure that he's going to be doing everything that he can to get as far as he can in that tournament. So yeah, definitely another good one to watch. But it's coming up very fast. I'm sure that everybody has their bot almost completely done at this point, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm just putting on my top plate. I'll be ready in 5 minutes, I swear.
I could be ready in 15 minutes if I had to, but
probably would rather not rush it for finals. Well, it is very soon, as of when this ends up getting posted, if you're watching it, it's going to be even sooner. So everybody better be prepared, whether you're fighting, whether you're going to be watching. I think we're going to see a lot of really just outstanding fights. And we've seen so many already this year, and I think it's really anyone's game. So excited to see how that shakes out. But first of all, thank everybody for joining me in this today. This is always a lot of fun, and I love just kind of hearing everybody's thoughts on what is going to happen and about their own robots. And if you are watching this, please make sure that you like, subscribe, share, comment, whatever you want to do. Keep supporting combat robotics, and I will see everybody next time on the show, and watch finals.